A new lithium plant is expected to create hundreds of jobs. The Police Services Board is set to appoint a new chair. And a Titanic tourist sub goes missing in the Atlantic Ocean. Good evening and thank you for joining us. Thunder Bay could be getting a new lithium hydroxide processing plant that would create hundreds of jobs and spark an economic boost in the region.
That's the plan for Avalon Advanced Materials after it announced the purchase of a former mill property on Strathcona Avenue. Vasilios Bellos is following this story and joins us live in studio with the details. Vasilios?
Thanks, Riley. Officials could not disclose the dollar value of the purchase and only said the land was bought from a private group. The company is expecting the facility will create 500 jobs with the goal of having processing begin in 4 years. An exciting land purchase in Thunder Bay that could create an economic boost in the region.
It's a great day for the province, a great day for the country, and we're hoping a great day for the city.
Avalon Advanced Materials announced Monday morning the purchase of the former pulp and paper mill site with a plan to have a lithium hydroxide processing facility up and running there by 2027. The company, which already has lithium deposits in the Northwest, estimates a processing plant could create 500 jobs. President Zishan Syed explains what about the property appealed to the group.
Deep port, water access to U.S. and international markets. It's got rail, road, full utilities ready to roll. So it really makes, from a de-risking perspective and for really to get us on our right foot, it's a fantastic first step for us.
Processing lithium is expected to play an important role in terms of reducing greenhouse gas emissions and is a crucial mineral when developing electric vehicle batteries. Syed believes because of this and government commitments to greener initiatives, a processing plant would benefit the local economy for years to come.
It's a really exciting sector that's taking off, but it's just growing now. This is going to be a sector there for the long term. The opportunities for our young, talented people in Thunder Bay, opportunities to skill and reskill and upskill people to tap into that tremendous talent in Thunder Bay. That's certainly one fantastic opportunity that really we're keen on.
Andrew Kane with the Thunder Bay CEDC recognizes the purchase does not confirm a lithium mine and the processing plant will be constructed, but stresses the benefits those developments would bring.
You know, the market cap for a typical lithium mine is upwards of $300 million. And lithium hydroxide facility, typically $500 million to $800 million. Definitely hundreds of construction jobs and several hundred permanent, high-paying full-time jobs as well.
Avalon Advanced Metals could not provide timelines for the work to begin, but say they will be transparent with the community during the process. Vasilios Bellos, TBT News.
Canada and the province have agreed to a landmark $10 billion settlement to resolve a long-standing treaty dispute with First Nations in the Robinson-Huron area. But another affecting Robinson Superior communities in this area has yet to be resolved. The Robinson-Huron agreement will see the federal and provincial governments each pay $5 billion to 21 First Nations to end a nearly 150-year-old dispute. Treaty annuity payments there that were explicitly tied to the value of research extraction in the region hadn't been increased since 1875, when they were set at $4 a person per year. But the dispute with 12 Robinson Superior communities is still working its way through the courts. Fort William is one of those First Nations. Chief Michelle Solomon says while the Huron area settlement is precedent-setting in some respects, she doesn't believe it's predictive of how a Robinson Superior settlement will play out.
It creates a lot of excitement for the potential of change in community, change in your life. So, you know, as I said, when you are thinking about people who have had that marginalized experience to, you know, the idea of having, you know, some opportunities, new opportunities it's exciting.
Submissions in the trial that will determine the Robinson Superior settlement are set to wrap up in Sudbury this week. Closing arguments are expected to take place between September 6th and 18th here in Thunder Bay.
A 26-year-old man has been arrested for brandishing a knife in the Intercity Mall area on Saturday evening. Police arrived to find the suspect wielding the large kitchen knife. Officers demanded that he drop the weapon, and the man was arrested without further incident. He did, however, provide police with a false name while in custody. The man appeared in court yesterday and has been released with conditions.
The Thunder Bay Police Board will appoint a new chair and vice chair at tomorrow's meeting. The board has been led by provincially appointed Administrator Malcolm Mercer since the spring of 2022, a move that prompted former Chair Kristen Oliver and 2 other members to resign their posts. Since then, Mercer has been working to stabilize the board. The 2 newest members, provincial appointee Karen Machado and citizen representative Denise Baxter, have both been in their roles for less than 5 months. Now the board is ready to appoint Machado as chair for the remainder of the year. Baxter is being named as vice chair. Meanwhile, Mercer's status with the sole vote on the board will change on July 1st, when the 4 other members regain their voting status. Mercer will continue to have a vote until a 5th board member is appointed. He'll then stay on as an advisor until next March.
Thunder Bay City Council is being asked to approve the preferred design for the Victoria and Syndicate Avenues redevelopment project. Victoriaville Mall will be demolished in the fall of 2024, and if the design plan is approved at tonight's meeting, the street revitalization will move ahead in 2025. The work is meant to make the area more walkable, better suited to host events, and provide a better overall experience for area businesses and the public. The total project is now expected to cost $17 million. Development Services Director Joel DePuter believes the benefits will extend beyond Victoria Avenue.
You know, there's a focus to work hard at this area and see the benefits spill out into the surrounding area. And I do think that once Victoria Avenue is open, and this is a very busy place, beautiful place, and we'll see the benefits progress down Victoria Avenue towards Simpson Street and beyond.
If the project is approved by Council, administration will begin providing updates on next steps and the tender process. Some troubling statistics. The number of fatal collisions in the Northwest region has quadrupled over the last year, according to recent stats from the OPP.
There's also been an overall increase in fatalities across the province, but the rise has been particularly dramatic in this region. Lee Noonan has the details.
OPP say they are very concerned by a sharp increase in the number of fatal collisions in the region. 14 people have died in 11 crashes between January and June 15th. Last year, the region saw 4 deaths stemming from 3 collisions over the same period.
Any fatalities on our roads is too many. We want that number to be 0. So that's why we're here reminding members of the public, people traveling on our highways, that these things such as the rules of the road, the speed limits, those are things to take seriously to prevent these numbers from being as high as they are.
Foster wouldn't comment on the role transport trucks have played in the fatalities, but he does say it's important for everyone on the highway to leave a healthy amount of distance between vehicles, particularly heavier vehicles that are slower to stop.
While you're traveling at high rates of speed, you have very minimal time to react to something that could come your way.
Foster does say that some of the fatal accidents can be explained by an increase in impaired driving. He also notes that driver fatigue is a major factor in the region.
We have not a lot of stops in between towns, and quite often people are road tripping, not saying the persons involved in these fatal collisions were road tripping. However, it's just another thing to keep in mind when you're driving such long distances like you do in our region, that driver fatigue can be a factor.
Foster adds that in 20% of traffic fatalities province-wide, the deceased were not wearing a seatbelt. He implores drivers in the region to take road safety seriously and always buckle up. Lee Noonan, TBT News.
Ring of Fire Metals held an open house recently to showcase their new Thunder Bay office space. The company is currently working to push forward the Eagle's Nest Mine project, which is one of the largest undeveloped nickel, copper, platinum, and palladium deposits in the world. The open house at the new location in Nova Park offered an opportunity for leaders in Thunder Bay and area First Nations to stop by and speak with the Ring of Fire representatives. CEO Kristen Straub says the new office promotes these kinds of gatherings, which will be important moving forward.
Quite comfortable in that space, but one of the big changes for us here is to have a much more open space area where we can have people that can stop by and drop in if they have questions, if they want to engage on the Eagle's Nest project development piece. We have a space now that can accommodate that, and it's a very welcoming space for people to come into.
Straub goes on to say this space is definitely an upgrade compared to their previous Thunder Bay office they've been operating out of since 2010.
Students at 3 local high schools are becoming proficient with some new manufacturing equipment.
And now a student from Westgate has been awarded the Canadian Tooling and Machining Association's high school bursary. Mitchell Ringos has more.
In the last 18 months, the Canadian Tooling and Machining Association and the Ontario Council for Technology Education have funded Westgate, Superior, and Hammersholt high schools with $230,000 collectively, which goes directly into purchasing new high-tech equipment and upscaling their manufacturing technology programs. Specialized high school major coordinator and OYAP recruiter Roger Durcher says this funding is essential to create the trade workers of the future.
So there's a huge shortage in the skilled trade, so a lot more money is going into making sure that our students are leaving secondary school and having the skills so that they can pursue apprenticeships and move forward in a skilled trades career.
And one of the success stories coming out of Westgate's specialized high skills major program is graduating student Nicholas Badagelli, who was awarded with a Turner's Cube Award and a $1,000 bursary. Badagelli was recognized for his high proficiency in metalworking and was thrilled to be recognized for his work.
To be honest, kind of didn't really expect anything like this. It's just something I've always liked doing, and this is just, getting money for it is such a bonus. I feel like I don't even really deserve it, because I'd be doing this anyway.
Badagelli currently works at Thunder Bay Hydraulics, but will be heading to university for business at the end of August with the plan of becoming a millwright after school. Thunder Bay Hydraulics Vice President Jamie Crozier spoke highly of the work Badagelli did for the short time he was around and is hopeful that with more funding in the trades, talented students will continue to come through their doors.
We know there's a huge gap in between where kind of the old workers or old machinists are, and between the new machinists, there's 20 to 25 year gap in between the knowledge.
Crozier is hopeful that more funding and support will continue to be poured into the high school trades programs. Mitchell Ringos, TBT News.
The Murillo Mutts Animal Shelter got a big boost from Jansens Pharmacy and its new charity golf tournament this afternoon. Golfers at the Fort William Country Club were greeted by a trio of puppies who are there to bring awareness to the organization's funding needs. Murillo Mutts was chosen by Jansens as a beneficiary of the charity's golf tournaments for its inaugural year. Jansens owner Brenda Adams says she has a long history working with animal advocacy groups in and around Thunder Bay and was excited to be supporting Murillo Mutts. The organization has been providing respite and refuge services for animals in and around the Thunder Bay region since 2020. They often provide their services to at-risk populations who find themselves requiring temporary or permanent housing for their beloved pets.
I saw a little prediction of rain about a week ago, but we couldn't have asked for a better day. Not too hot, nice sunshine, and golf and animals. Two of my big passions, so couldn't be happier.
We're very honored that Jansens chose us this year to do this charity event, and it means a lot because we run solely on donations and fundraising, so this means everything to us.
Could you quickly introduce us to a few of these dogs here?
These dogs are well trained, they are housebroken, they know sit, down, touch, they have the best personalities. Anyone that takes these dogs would have a great companion.
Adams was hoping to raise $15,000 from the golf tournament. Anyone looking to donate can visit the website murillomutts.ca.
A great day to get out on the golf course today, Fiona, especially for a great event like that.
Absolutely. Loads of sunshine, some nice light winds keeping it comfortable. We had a low of 10, a high of 23. It doesn't get better than that to start off a new week. And technically, we're still in spring. We haven't even hit summer weather yet. But that could all be changing very quickly. Already to the west, we've got a lot of heat moving in. Now, Fort Frances is currently at 25, but the Humidex is making it feel like 30, and that's under mostly sunny skies, similar temperatures in Atikokan and Uppsala, Dryden, Kenora, and up into Red Lake where it's mostly cloudy. The Humidex topped out at 32 this afternoon. Right now it's sitting, I believe, a little closer to 30, 31. Now as we head eastward, Sioux Lookout 28, 27 in Armstrong. Pickle Lake, yeah, that's 30 Celsius at this hour. Greenstone currently at 29. The Humidex hasn't quite kicked in yet, but they have loads of sunshine. A little cooler along the North Shore and down into Sault Ste. Marie. They're at 26 and partly cloudy. They too are experiencing some nice dry weather, so the Humidex not really a factor just yet. But if you'll notice, the majority of northwestern Ontario covered in red. That is a heat warning, folks. So it's actually almost easier to say the areas that are not going to be affected, and that's along the North Shore and areas further east. And in the areas under the heat warning that for the most part will begin on Tuesday, we're looking at maximum temperatures reaching high 20s to low 30s during the day. And the Humidex, that could be reaching mid to high 30s for the next little while. And I'll have more details on what that will do to Thunder Bay and the rest of the week later on in the news hour.
Thank you so much, Fiona. Well, a tourist submarine that's used to visit the sunken Titanic has gone missing, and now there's a search and rescue mission underway. We'll have all those details for you as your Monday News Hour continues.
This is, heart-wrenching, knowing that this is going on off the coast here.
A search and rescue mission is underway far off the coast of Newfoundland, where a submersible carrying 5 people has gone missing near the wreck of the Titanic.
The company behind the sub offers visits to the storied site for wealthy tourists. The craft was reported overdue late on Sunday. John Venevali-Rao has the latest.
Get ready for what Jules Verne could only imagine.
In a promotional video released this year, the company behind the missing submersible touted its Titanic trips as both safe and much more than a thrill ride for tourists.
Fewer people have been to Titanic than have been to space.
Inviting customers paying $250,000 to journey to the bottom of the sea and help map the wreckage.
It's not a ride at Disney, you know. There's a lot of real risk involved and there's a lot of challenges.
But now something's gone wrong. Its one-of-a-kind vehicle called Titan is said to be the only 5-person submersible of its type, able to go down nearly 4 kilometers deep where the Titanic rests. In a statement, the company OceanGate says, "We're exploring and mobilizing all options to bring the crew back safely," saying it's trying to re-establish contact with the submersible. A submersible that got into trouble near the Titanic's resting place off Newfoundland. The company hasn't said what kind of malfunction it thinks happened. Larry Daly dove to the Titanic 20 years ago.
This is, heart-wrenching, knowing that this is going on off the coast here. And, I'm hoping this is going to be a, successful end to it.
Both Canada and the U.S. have sent search aircraft, including one that can detect objects underwater, the effort being coordinated by the Boston Coast Guard.
It is a remote area. And it is a challenge to conduct a search in that remote area.
The family of this 59-year-old British billionaire says he is among the missing tourists. The Titan was taken out to sea from St. John's Harbor earlier this month, towed behind its support ship. The submersible was built with the help of NASA engineers and said to have enough oxygen to last 4 days. The company's adventure-loving CEO Stockton Rush proudly showing it off a few years ago.
What OceanGate's about is bringing the ability to explore the oceans to everyone.
If the submersible is stuck near the ocean floor, experts say a rescue would need to happen fairly fast.
And the longer this goes on, of course, the more at risk the people inside that submersible are.
The company says it's thankful for the help offered so far and says it is working to get everyone back to the surface. John Venevali-Rao, CTV News, Toronto.
The search for answers regarding Thursday's deadly bus crash in Manitoba continues today, and while officials are still piecing together information, all 10 injured victims remain in hospital.
10 patients continue to be in hospital. 6 are women, 4 are men, with their ages ranging in their 60s to their 80s. 5 of these patients remain in critical care.
The bus was carrying a group of seniors from the community of Dauphin to a casino when it collided with a semi-truck. 15 people were killed. Today, the RCMP didn't have many answers about the investigation, but said it could take weeks or potentially even months to piece together exactly what happened.
Oftentimes in these types of scenes, it's difficult to gather evidence. It's very difficult because normally we have numerous amount of eyewitnesses. In this case, we don't. All the witnesses were in the bus, and a lot of them are in trauma right now that we can't talk to. So we have to rely on forensic investigations, mechanical analysis of the vehicle, and things like that. And that's why it's taking so long.
So far, none of the deceased have been identified, but autopsies are being carried out in the coming days. The drivers of both vehicles survived, but police haven't been able to speak with the bus driver, who's still being treated in hospital. Manitoba's premier says the entire province is in mourning, and the government will do whatever it takes to support the victims and their families.
The Donny Creek fire in northern British Columbia is now the largest ever recorded in the province's history. It's still considered out of control, and some experts say it could keep growing this summer and even into the fall. The fire has burned 534,000 hectares. That's nearly the size of PEI. Meantime, cooler, wet weather is providing some encouraging news on Vancouver Island. The Cameron Bluffs wildfire near Port Alberni is now under control. The fire has been burning for 2 weeks, scorching 230 hectares. Showers are in the forecast for the next few days.
Here in this province, a 17-year-old boy has died after a shooting just east of Toronto. Officers were called to a housing complex in Pickering last night. Janice Golding reports.
Police tape surrounds a crime scene at a housing complex at 1580 Kingston Road in Pickering, while area residents try to console one another about the loss of a 17-year-old boy.
This neighborhood used to be safe, now it's not, and you don't want this stuff to come into your neighborhood because all you want to do is just come home and feel safe, right? But we don't feel safe anymore.
As Alden says, his mother was home alone when she heard the gunfire.
She heard a bunch of fireworks go. Well, she thought it was fireworks in the moment, and then right after it happened, she saw just 2 cars speeding around the neighborhood. She didn't see what, but right after it happened, she just turned off all the lights, everything in her house, right? Because she got scared.
Durham Regional Police say they received calls for a shooting at around 9:40 p.m.
They arrived on scene here and located a 17-year-old male that had been shot. Officers as well as paramedics attempted to perform life-saving measures, which were unfortunately unsuccessful, and the male was pronounced deceased on scene.
At a morning news conference, police did not reveal how many shots were fired nor how many suspects were involved in the shooting. However, they say they believe this was a drive-by shooting involving one vehicle.
At this time, it is believed to be an older model, 4-door sedan, possibly a Honda. However, we are still working to confirm that information.
The complex is run by Durham Region Nonprofit Housing. The organization's CEO says there are multiple cameras in the complex. All of the surveillance video is being shared with police. Janice Golding, CTV News.
There's just 1 week left until Toronto residents elect a new mayor in the Ontario capital. The latest polls indicate front-runner Olivia Chow is still the person to beat. Natalie Johnson has the latest details.
With 1 week to go, you can't vote for the same faces that have caused this mess in the first place. The candidates were on the campaign trail and on the offensive.
Toronto cannot afford Olivia Chow. Olivia is out of touch with the needs of Toronto residents today. Olivia Chow will make life more expensive.
The latest Forum research numbers put Olivia Chow at 32% support. Mark Saunders at 15%, Anthony Furey and Anna Bailau at 13%, Josh Matlow, Mitzi Hunter and Brad Bradford in the single digits.
We're feeling a momentum on the ground that isn't always reflected in the polls. The polls are snapshots.
My name's Anthony Furey.
Those snapshots highlighting big gains from Anthony Furey.
He came from 0 practically, 1 or 2%. He's now up to 13%. He's in that second tier along with Mark Saunders, who's 1 or 2 points ahead of him, that's all. So Anthony Furey could in fact come in second when this is over if he continues his projection.
Furey seizing on that surge to try to convince Mark Saunders supporters to back him to take down Chow.
While I think Mark Saunders supporters do view me favorably and would vote for me in a heartbeat, for whatever reason, it doesn't apply the other way around. My supporters, for whatever reason, aren't going to vote in that direction.
We have to unite. I have the best plan to protect Toronto's future. By voting for me, we can stop Olivia Chow.
The focus now is on strategic voting and who can harness the numbers they need to compete with